Marting Odegaard is a superstar and is currently one of the best players in Europe. He's a Premier League Player of the Month for November-December 2022, and he looks like he'll be in contention for the Premier League Player of the Season award at the end of this campaign. Better still, there's a chance that he could be captaining Arsenal to their first Premier League trophy since 2004. But how has this guy come from barely making it into Real Madrid's squad to leading the new-looking Arsenal team to a possible dream Premier League run? This is a story of the rise of Marting Odegaard. Odegaard was born in Drammen, Norway, so unsurprisingly, he started his career there in his home city. He joined the local football club Drammen Strong in 2005 at the very tender age of 6, and that's where he spent his formative football years. This small club would later benefit massively from having Odegaard in their team when they earned around €29,000 from Odegaard's transfer from Strømsgodset to Real Madrid. Fun fact, at Drammen, Odegaard was coached by his dad. Anyway, after spending 4 years at Drammen, Odegaard was snatched up by Strømsgodset, a bigger club in Norway. He was just 10, but he played with the older boys in the youth division. The coaches and staff could already tell that he was a very precocious talent. At 12, he was already playing in a nationwide under-16 tournament. He was 3 or 4 years younger than the other players, but he still shone the brightest. Then, at 13, he started going on training visits at bigger clubs in Europe, including Man United and Bayern Munich. And at just 15, Odegaard looked like a fully developed youngster. He trained with Bayern and Man United's first teams, and the Norway national team coach said he was one of the best 15-year-olds in Europe. So, it wasn't surprising that the midfielder made his senior debut for Norway that same year, and became the youngest ever player to play for the senior team. And he didn't just break the record for Norway, he also became the youngest ever player to play a Euro qualifying game. He would then go on to become the youngest ever player to start a Euro qualifying game. He was that good at such a young age. So, at 16, Madrid came knocking. The club signed him and announced that the Norwegian would train with both the first team and the reserves. His training with the first team would later cause some dissatisfaction among the Castilla staff. But Odegaard was so talented that Carlo Ancelotti, the first team coach at the time, intervened and asked that the staff and the fans be patient with the youngster. Then, later that same season, Ancelotti would make the same youngster a record breaker when he brought him on for Cristiano Ronaldo in a La Liga game against Getafe. With that appearance, Odegaard became the youngest ever debutant in the history of Real Madrid. Everyone thought it was going to be up and away from there for Odegaard, but unfortunately, that was far from the case. He really struggled for game time at Madrid, with the team having too many stars in their midfield. So, both parties decided that the best option was a loan move for the teenager. And like that, he was off to the Netherlands to join Heerenveen for 18 months. Everyone thought he'd fare better at a smaller club, with much less expectations on his shoulders. But that didn't happen. In his first 7 games at the club, he had just 1 assist and had taken just 1 shot, so he was immediately relegated to the bench. Things got a little better the following season, but it generally wasn't a very flattering period in Odegaard's career. He scored just 3 goals and provided 5 assists in 43 games for the club. He was no longer looking like the precocious talent he was only a year before. And when you look back to his time with Heerenveen, you come to appreciate the really fine margins at play in a game of football. Because before he made that move, he was so close to joining Barcelona. But the Catalan club had a transfer ban on them at the time, so they couldn't scoop him up from their rivals. Anyway, after that terrible time at Heerenveen, Odegaard's stocks had gone down. Madrid weren't willing to keep him, so they sent him out on loan again. This time to Vitesse, another club in the Netherlands. His time at Vitesse was much better though. He was directly involved in 24 goals in 39 appearances in his 1 season at the club, and was named in the Eredivisie Team of the Year. He was back to looking like the youngster who earned that early move to Real Madrid. But Madrid still didn't have enough space for him. To be fair, they had Kroos, Casemiro and Modric all in their prime, so they had to loan out Odegaard yet again. But this time, they sent him to another La Liga side. Odegaard joined Real Sociedad in the summer of 2019 for a 1-season loan with the option to extend to 2, and that was where he really exploded. Just 2 months after joining the club, he was named La Liga Player of the Month. He would further help Sociedad break their 33-year trophy drought by helping them get to the Copa del Rey final, which they would then go on to win in his absence. In fact, on their way to the final, Ødegaard scored against his parent club, Real Madrid, to help knock them out of the tournament. We're sure it was the game that convinced Madrid not to extend his loan deal at Sociedad. He returned to Madrid at the end of the season, but still, there was no space for him there, so he had to go out on loan again. But Ødegaard's stocks had now gone up, so he was able to land a loan deal to Arsenal in the middle of the 2019-20 season. Marting Odegaard joined Arsenal on the 27th of January 2021, and the rest, as they say, is history. It took him just 2 months to get his first goal for the club, and it was a beautiful one in a European tie. It ended up winning the award for the club's Goal of the Month in March. He would also pick up the award for Arsenal's Player of the Month that same month. The coach, the staff and the fans didn't need to see more. They knew they wanted Ødegaard on a permanent basis. Ødegaard himself said that Arsenal was a club that suits him well, so they went on to make the deal permanent at the end of the season. Arsenal paid Madrid €35 million and acquired the services of the Norway captain on a permanent basis in the summer of 2021, and boy, he has looked worthy of every penny so far. He would go on to score 7 goals and provide 4 assists for the club in the Premier League that season. But what Arsenal fans didn't know at the time was that was only the tip of the iceberg. The best of Ødegaard was still to come, and it seemed like him being named club captain in the summer of 2022, just 1.5 seasons after joining, felt like a herald for the best that was to come. In just the 3rd game of the season, Ødegaard scored twice to hand Arsenal some very important points. Before we even got to game 10, it was already obvious how very important the new captain was to the team. He was the link between attack and defence, and was always one of the first names in the team sheet for Arteta. As the season went on, his goal scoring form became better and his creativity sharpened. He kept scoring and is currently Arsenal's top scorer in the league. He is also the highest scoring midfielder in the Premier League so far this season. And with the league already halfway through, no midfielder has directly contributed to more goals than Marting Odegaard. He has been a real revelation, and he just keeps getting better and better as the months go by. In November and December, that is immediately before and after the World Cup, he scored 3 goals and provided 3 assists in just 4 games in the Premier League to strengthen Arsenal's grip on the number 1 position going into the new year. And very deservedly, he was rewarded with the November-December Player of the Month award, his first individual award in the English top flight. And with the way he's looking, that looks like the first of many. The 24-year-old could realistically go on to compete for the biggest individual awards in the Premier League this season, including Premier League Player of the Season, PFA Player of the Year, FWA Footballer of the Year, and even the Premier League Playmaker Award. But without a doubt, his eyes will be on just one prize: the Premier League trophy itself. Will he be able to bring that honour back to Arsenal for the first time since 2004 in just his first season as captain? Let us know what your predictions are in the comments.